so he's arriving a little bit later, with the assumption that the first players would show up and we would be okay. So obviously this turned into a bit of a disaster. But as it stands, it is going to be good to go, and we've got it figured out. Just a little bit of a late start. So, the apologies out of the way, let's go into this. To the bottom right-hand side, our blue Zerg player from OSC Elite. Give it up, guys, if you're going to be cheering on Cham. And to the top left-hand side, our pink Terran player is Shana. Let me just update the title of the stream then, because we are casting a slightly different series to what we expected. Alright. Rax gas opening here in the early stages. We set up into this, get ready to roll in the first few moments. Hatchery first coming down from Cham in our first matchup of the day. How's everyone doing out there in the chat? Do say hello if you're chilling out, if you're hanging around. Let me know what's good today. Let me know if you're having a good weekend so far. It's beautiful Sunday here in the northeast of England. I mean, as beautiful as England gets, you know. It's not raining. There's only like half the sky covered in clouds. But they're quite nice white clouds. They're not going to pour down on me. Not today. Not just yet, at least. So yeah, let me know what's up with you guys. How's your weekend going? Anything exciting been happening? Let me know. As we get set up into this and get ready to go into the first game. Yeah, guys, we don't really know what was up with you, Thermal. I imagine he just got caught up in something, or something was happening again. He was just uncontactable for a while. I know he was playing quite late in the Taco Cup last night, so it's possibly maybe just overslept or something after having played the Taco Cup. Either way, it's all getting sorted out. The matches will be played. There's not going to be walkovers given. And well, because of that, it's all looking good. Alright, just going to be seeing the factory on the way up, then the CC as well. Lings and Queens on the way out, with Ling Speed on the way up as well here from Cham. And as you see, a couple of Marines just on the way out early. Shana just looking to go Overlord hunting, and he is going to be able to pick up this Overlord right here. So Overlord going to be getting taken down. That's a nice pick off early. He actually might get to the high ground. He might be able to keep this alive, which would be really nice. Obviously, losing an Overlord early can be quite detrimental just because of the fact that it's 100 minerals early in your build. It can supply block you, and delays early in the build like this obviously have larger repercussions later than getting supply blocked at 50 supply or 80 supply. You know, the further up you are in supply, the less repercussions basically from a supply block. So getting supply blocked at 3 minutes in game, 25 supply would not be great. And again, the extra 100 minerals does go a long way as well. When your builds are as precise as these guys are, the 100 minerals difference really can make quite the difference. So we're going to see a hatchery coming down over on the third base here. It's getting set up and ready to go. Starport going to be finishing here in a moment as well. Did you see that factory lifting up? Reactor will drop down. Barracks will drop down onto Tech Lab as well. SCV comes forward and builds a depot. Let me just set up into this. So medevac on the way out, obviously not a Hellion-based opening immediately. It's going to be that sort of Widowmine Marine drop initially, you would imagine. And that's why that Widowmine and Burrows now gets ready to get picked up by the medevac. And then Hellions to back this barracks moves away from the Tech Lab to make room for that starport as well. Obviously just options all over the place for Shana right now as to how this might go. And there's this one medevac coming down the left-hand side looking to see where it can indeed head on over to. See the cloak is on the way up from the starport. The Banshee on the way is going to be the choice for him here. Because he does know about this Overlord from earlier, of course. He does pick that up. Reveals that it's a Widowmine Marine drop, but I mean, I think picking off the Overlord is kind of worthwhile anyways. You can see it actually does put Cham towards that supply block, which again, against kind of follow-up attacks is generally not going to be great. Now an Armory coming down. Shana really playing a very technical build here. You know, Widowmine drop into Hellions, into Banshee, into a Hellbat attack. It's really building up into just so many waves of aggression, basically. And really just looking to kind of build up this damage over time. Now, obviously, if you could keep all of these units alive, it would be more beneficial than not. Generally, at this sort of stage of the game, if you're going to for a Hellbat attack after as well, you're going to really benefit from just having more and more. Because as your units kind of all gather together, that Terran army is going to become so powerful. It's just really going to force so many units to come out. And it's just going to mean that Cham is not necessarily going to be able to defend with only Queens. Currently going up to 55 workers as he sees the first Banshee. I'm just going to see a bunch of Spore Crawlers coming down. So a bunch of spores do start dropping. Hellions coming through the center of the map as well here from Shana, looking to see what he can get up to. The +1 mech weapons on the way on the armory. That cloaking is going to be finishing now on the starport as well. And these units all gathering up. I mean, Hellbats will morph in. There really isn't much here at all from Cham. I mean, there's a lot of queens, but I'm still a little bit worried, if I'm going to be honest, because the sheer damage output of this many Hellbats and Marines behind, and a queen, and a potential Widowmine shot, it's all going to add up quite massively. No lair just yet, so we're not going to be seeing the Banshee taken down super quickly unless it flies into a Spore Crawler, which it does right away there. Lings run in, but they get roasted. At the same time, Queens to the right-hand side are doing a good job. The medevac has to back away. And well, I was wrong. Queens alone will be able to defend against this as Cham continues to spread out his units. Just wants to minimize the remaining damage he takes here. He will lose one more Queen, but that should be about the be-all and end-all. You can see the final Hellbat getting taken down as well. And that is about that. The first Banshee lost. The second Banshee taking a lot of damage, so he can't even really look to move around and harass here. He's getting pushed back pretty quickly, as we're going to see this drone. Just going to build up that hatch now over on this right-hand side. So this Banshee is moving on, continuing towards the upper left now. +1/+1 upgrades coming through here for the Zerg player. 4 Cyclones on the way at a time. Shana is playing mech as a follow-up, with armory being used for that +1 mech upgrade. With the second factory down, both on reactor, it's going to be that sort of Hellion Cyclone playstyle rather than just straight into a couple of 4s and then siege tanks, which has been more and more common as of late. It's kind of like the 2 factory 3cc rather than the 1 factory into 3 factories 3cc into 5 factories eventually. It's a kind of a more aggressive way of playing early on. It's very strange, honestly, I'm not going to lie. It's a very weird one to explain, but basically it's this sort of situation where you have, you know, Hellions and Cyclones early, so you can move around the map, you can jump around and see what's up and what's happening. And as, you know, rather than the kind of usual mech where you may be able to throw some Hellions across, but you have no real pushing power. You're looking to hit a mineral line, not necessarily be able to take a straight up fight against your opponent's units. So it's a little bit different from what we might call kind of the standard way of playing mech here. As you see 2 Banshees again, Hellion Cyclone to the right. Obviously they can become Hellbats as well. And become a little bit tankier to help protect the Cyclones. A few Roaches here, they're just starting to gather up. As the 1-1 upgrades finish, will be a big help as whoa, first Queen goes down, and second Queen very quickly. A lot of transfused energy now being lost on that. All of a sudden, the Banshee's getting a lot of power in the skies. But look at the Ravagers morphing in. There's no way these Hellbats and Cyclones are going to be able to stick around here forever. He will just start to target down Ravagers, though, with these Banshees. And actually, to be fair, so far, the Hellbats are tanking long enough to allow these Cyclones to do quite a lot of damage. Queen's been targeted again. He'll realize that maybe in the end he should just go for a couple more Ravagers. It will be a cleanup by Cham, and I think we expected it to be. But he lost a bit more than I maybe thought Shana would be able to get out of that attack. You know, Shana went into that looking like he might get, you know, maybe a couple of Roaches, some drones. The first Queens were nice, but he actually made a lot more of it. He really was able to tank a long time with those Hellbats and other bits and pieces as we set on up here. Going to be seeing this medevac coming up top, and we are going to be seeing the Spire coming down next to the Hive. So Hive coming on into play. The 4th CC starts to build up here from Shana as well. And we just continue to set up into this to see what exactly will be the next, coming up in the next few stages, I suppose. Lings, Roaches, Ravagers all gathering together for now. The Spire just over halfway done. Inferno Pre-Igniter on the way, and +2 vehicle weapons too. And we have seen that kind of very standard mech composition now starting to be coming out here from our Terran player. He has transitioned. I think one of the biggest issues a lot of the time when you play a Hellbat Cyclone is that you so often get your extra factories of Tech Labs up so much later, and you just aren't prepared to actually deal with the initial Roach push that comes out of the Zerg. You can just straight up die without those tanks. But with the tanks now in play, Shana's looking good to kind of defend anything. The only thing is, from the Zerg play, he did go into the Infestation Pit rather quickly. Now with the Spire done, the Greater Spire can start to morph in. The Hive obviously finished because of the, you know, to allow that, meaning also Adrenal Glands, but also Vipers on the way out. I'm interested by all those Lings that Cham is making. I mean, I don't know whether he's just gas starved, he just wants something, but even with Adrenal Glands, I don't really see these Lings being that effective. I mean, okay, maybe they can do a good job running by, but for now, Shana has all of the walls shut. Well, he has walls available at least. He doesn't have them shut necessarily right now, but he's got the walls available to make sure that those Lings aren't able to run by, in which case they're going to be very much so kind of a dead lump of supply that just limits what else Cham can build here. Some Roach Ravager might want to trade out as the first Corruptors come up. Broodlords will not be far away. But do you see Fours and Vikings on the way up to help against this? This Roach Ravager Force. We'll just move up this ramp. We're going to see one depot getting taken down. So one depot goes down. Another depot is on fire right now. A couple of tanks do siege up. And Lone Hellbat in the top side of the map for some reason is going to get picked off. A couple of Lings to the left cleaned out as well in the fourth base for now. Already looking to hold on. Obviously, Cham not too interested in kind of pushing aggressively forwards. He just wants to clean up a bit of supply so he can get his Broodlords on the map. And that's all he, you know, again, that's all he really wants to achieve here. Get the Broodlords out. That's what he's been aiming for some time. And Shana going to look to maybe start moving out here himself. Maybe look to try and get some damage done too. Corrosive Bars initially on those Vikings. That's a great way to start it, obviously. Ultra Cannon coming down now as well. The Road Travelers just fighting against the Hellbats. I like it. The Corrosive Bars keep on landing. And they do keep on hitting some of their markers every now and then, which is obviously great as well. Shana looking to push through the center. Cham with a lot of creep spread on the map. All this creep spread obviously allows him to stay very safe. Whoa, the medevac with a couple of Hellbats inside actually goes down to the biles. Wasn't quite expecting that there as we see these tanks, etc. still just sieging up. Getting ready to go once more. So yeah, a couple of creep teamers moving around the map as well. Still just spreading this creep out. It really does slow Shana down from being able to continue to push across here. And as you see those units all gathering up together. Kindness plane on the way. We're going to see a few more Corruptors just on the way out. And you see a little bit of a fight starting up over here. A couple tanks getting taken down already. And these units continue to push on over to the right-hand side. Roaches and Ravagers being pushed away to the right-hand side as well. Tanks will siege once more. Corrosive Battle lands and just misses a couple of those siege tanks there. As you can see this army still pushing forwards. The thing is, I mean, Cham is not really revealing these Broodlords just yet. He still has Vipers to come into play as well. Shana continue to push on forwards. Cham, I mean, he's still fighting here with just the Roach Ravager on the ground. What's he got behind this? He hasn't really building Roach Ravager at all. He's so committed to, well, first of all, so many Zerglings, which will make it through because he did break down this wall earlier. And then also, he's just committed fully to Broodlords and Corruptors. So he's really reliant on these Broodlords and this tech to save him, basically, and the Lings to buy him more time, which is exactly what's happening. The natural mineral line completely ransacked, by the way, and the entire mineral line will end up going down. So many Zerglings doing so much damage here. But we see the Strand on that Cyclone, it will just get picked off in time. And we're going to be seeing these Zerglings getting cleaned out as well. Slingers get cleaned out as we're going to be seeing the... a few tanks over here getting left behind, actually, and they're going to start getting pushed back now as well. Cham, not with too many Broodlords, but enough to make a difference. We're seeing a duck coming down, but he doesn't actually have the follow-up there just yet to really utilize it. Go then, Broodlords. Again, it's not going to be a lot of Broodlords to kind of make a lot happen. We've seen a duck on a fort as well. Broods are starting to take some damage. He does clean up the Vikings, which means there's pretty much no contest to this apart from these fours. And realizing this, we're going to see just a bunch more Broods morphing in immediately from Cham, realizing that it really just is about ground to air rather than air to air right now to be able to close this out. Shana's just losing so much, and reality is he just didn't have what he needed to get rid of these Broodlords in time. And these Broods, well, they are dropping in numbers. That's got to be said here. The Broods are starting to get picked off, and the fours, they are becoming very powerful, and he needs to target down those fours. The issue became there for Cham that his Broods just kind of fell low enough in numbers, and the Broodlings weren't effective enough. They were getting cleaned up so quickly. He wasn't actually getting kills on the fours. Now he is, though, and as those fours go down, I mean, new Vikings arrive, but the Corruptor count's just not going to let that happen. No way. I mean, a counterattack to the right-hand side, but there's even more Broodlords coming through. There's 6 more of them morphing in currently, and there's already Lings, Roaches, and all sorts to help defend this push around the right. As the Hellions go down, the Lings will actually become very effective, and Shana knows it. GG taps out of game. That was not the right screen, obviously. Apologies, guys. I messed that one up. Yeah, just pressed the wrong button. Alright. Yeah, I completely forgot that pressing Alt-3 probably sends me to a different, all my different screens, so apologies for that. I was just messing around with the old chat commands as I was discussing it with Cham. Cham used one of the, kind of the old school hearts, basically. Basically, when you used to press Alt-3 in the chat channel, it makes a heart. And when you know, that heart is something which you just never see anymore because of the emoji heart, right? So it was kind of like a, oh, what's, you know, this is kind of weird. You know, what's this all about? And Yeah, so I was just remembering about that I was just discussing it and about the other things as well, which, the other kind of little things you can do with alt and numbers in StarCraft. And in the process, I hit a button which takes me to a different scene. So apologies for that, guys. It'll be fixed. Well, it is fixed now, but my bad. Alright then, let's go into this game number 2. Shana is our red Terran player at the top left-hand side of the map here. Ascension to Aya is his map pick now for the second game of the series. As to the bottom right-hand side, the blue Zerg player from the OSC Elite. Here in the OSC Masters Cup, it is Cham. Obviously, thank you very much to OSC for giving us the OSC Masters Cup to cast for you guys and putting on such a great event as well. I mean, what a lineup we have in our playoffs. I mean, today we're going to see Thermal Haas, the winner versus Alive. The winner of this plays Need. That's going to be great. Snoot versus Semper. Winner of that plays Ryung tomorrow. And we have today a Laser Keen. Yeah, it is a Laser Keen, and the winner of that plays Penguin tomorrow. Like, we really just have such an awesome bracket here for the playoffs. The groups have been amazing too. Big shout out to OSC for bringing us such an amazing event over the past few days. It's really been a lot of fun to cast, and, well, not even just the last few days, the last few weeks. It's really stretched out. Like, this is what? Our 9th broadcast of the OSC Masters Cup 100, because we had 4 qualifiers, 4 groups. It's insane. Like, 10 days of broadcast is really quite something. It really, really is. Hatchery here on the third base to get us started, so that drops down already and gets a rolling. Widowmine on the way up on this factory, as well as the starport going to be about 75% of the way done. These few Marines just gathering together and getting ready to roll, basically. So a few Marines gathering on up, and Widowmine pops out as well. Another couple of Marines also just popping out there, and again, I mean, so far Shana just very much so looking to do the same build as in game number 1. It's one of those builds where I feel as though Cham, once he's seen it once, he'll know it twice. You know, he'll know it the second time, and he didn't even get fooled by it the first time, right? So, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously Shana feels as though it did enough, though. You know, obviously, you know, he didn't, you know, he's not going to do the build a second time in a row and be like, well, you know, you completely shut it down last time without scouting it. You know, obviously he feels as though this is going to be, you know, good enough to do again. And so he is going to use it again here. Let's see what sort of position he can bring himself into. We'll see if it's going to be the same. Starboy is on the tech lab, and it is going to be a Banshee, and I imagine then Cloak as well. I wonder if he plays Mech for the second game in a row, because the other day when he was playing so good in the TVZ in the group stages, he was not playing Mech, he was playing Bio. So I wonder if he's going to go for a Bio transition this time, rather than the, you know, rather than the, how do I say, the Mech transition, basically. As you see, the Widowmine Marines just joined up on the third base. There's only 3 Queens here this time. If he gets the Widowmine shot, it will actually do quite a bit. He will go off. And that's 1 Queen very low. Makes it very, you know, very killable, basically. And you're going to see those Queens to help push this back once again. A couple of spine calls towards the third base as Cham just wants to make sure he can defend this location. For now, it is very much so defended, though. What's up, Zima CEO? How you doing, mate? Thank you so much for the resub. I know you've been subbed before. Thank you very much for the new resub, I suppose. But thank you very much for the $10 tier as well, dude. Thank you so much. Can we get some love in the chat, please, for Zima CEO and the $10 sub? Thank you very much. In case you guys aren't aware, we are on our way back towards 200 subscribers. We're only 21 away, which is awesome and fantastic. And as we're only 21 away, that's very exciting to get back to 200 subscribers, as we do see the Italians pushing forwards. We're also giving out replay packs. If you're interested in that, exclamation mark replay pack to find out more. Goes out to all subs. Just got to get that in there before this Queen Spine defense comes through. There's actually a Spore Core here. I thought it was double Spine, but the Spore makes sense, of course, to help push back the Banshee, which he sort of assumes is coming. Perfect defense here, really, is again, we do see vehicle weapons. We do see a second factory. And Shana, once again, is going to be playing into this kind of mech play. So he's going to just stay the same for the second game in a row, which is very intriguing, I have to say. So we've seen the Queen pulling over to the right-hand side. You can see those drones just jumping on towards the extractors here. One too many there, but Cham fixes it fairly quickly. I like this a bit better from Shana, where he forces the units in a position but doesn't trade out this time. I mean, Queens are very powerful, and they're nice to pick off, but at the same time, it's nice to keep your Banshees alive. It's nice to keep those Hellbats alive as well. He's going to see a few more Hellions morphing into Hellbats here also, and he's going to see a Refinery and another CC coming down in the next few moments. Another CC about to drop on in here. And we're going to see that CC does land, and Cyclones on the way up from Shana as we set up into this. 1-1 upgrades coming in from Cham still. They're going to finish very shortly as we do see Zerglings moving through the top side of the map. So Ling's moving in from the top side, going to run on in towards this mineral line, and they are going to start picking away at a few of these SCVs. You'll see the Cyclone and Hellbat's going to come on forwards, and just going to be looking to pick away at a few more of those Lings. Nice little damage done though. 3 workers picked off. Cham obviously showed us in the last game he's quite happy to use quite a heavy amount of Lings to counterattack, etc. throughout. Fourth hatchery just on the way from Cham again. 2 upgrades. Infestation pit finished. He'll probably look to play once again into that hive tech and just play this out from there. Is going to be seeing these units just pushing up the ramp, and well, Queens do pick off one of those Banshees right from the get-go. And even though a lot was retained from earlier, more Hellbats, but we'll see if it's going to be enough. Ling's actually on the way back over to help defend. I guess the other thing is not killing off all the Queens means the Queens do have a lot more transfuses to use. That Banshee gets taken down instantly. The medevac falls. This is not looking pretty at all here for our Terran player, who's going to start losing the Cyclones. And I actually think Shannon's just opened himself up to a massive counter-attack potential as he loses everything here. There's no way Cham doesn't move across the map and get some counter damage done. GG's. Can he clean it up? Let's see what's going to happen as we jump on into this third game here. To the bottom left-hand side, our red Terran player. Give it up, guys, if you're cheering on Shana. Let's see if he can take a map here. Saying after that game he's actually having some network issues, which was really affecting him during game number 2, he said. He said it was completely fine for game 1, but maybe that's why we saw game 2 just going Cham's way that little bit faster. Shana maybe not able to kind of play as he would like to, as we have to the top right-hand side the blue Zerg play. From OSC Elite, it is Cham. You saw me in DreamHack Valencia when I was leaving the building. I don't know if I remember you, but you said my name, Wardy. You know what? Zima, I actually 100% do remember that. Because I was so confused, because, like, I'm not used to people just being like, Wardy! So I was like, huh? And I, like, sort of, like, because I was walking with people, it took me a moment to realize, and then I, like, you did the Wardy heart, and I was like, I just did, like, a peace sign, because it, like, really just didn't click in my head very quickly, you know? Like, it really didn't click in my head at all, like, right there at the moment. Like, a minute later, I was like, God damn it, I was such a douche back there. Like, I completely remember this, because I remember thinking, like, oh, I was such a douche. Like, I just fucking, like, walked by, like, didn't give a fuck. Like, because I was just, like, so confused in the moment, because we were, like, in the middle of a conversation or something. Like, that actually really bothered me, so thanks for saying hi. I'm sorry that I didn't reply in a very exciting way. I was just, like, caught off guard, if I'm going to be completely honest. Not going to lie. Not going to lie. GenFX coming in with a huge donation. $50. What's going on today? $25, $50, $10 sub. Crazy. Hype, says GenFX. What's up, Jen? How you doing? Thanks for dropping by and tuning in. Nice to see you. And thank you so much for the $50. Said before, the $25 was very generous, as it is, and obviously $50 extremely generous as well. Can we get some love in the chat, please, GenFX, and the $50 donation. Very consistent supporter of the stream. Thank you very much. Do appreciate it. Get some Wardy hearts in the chat, guys. Let's see some love. If you can't Wardy heart, throw in some normal hearts. If you can't normal heart, learn to type. Anyways, let's set up into this and see what's going to happen for game number 3. Thank you, Jen. Do appreciate as we go into a 2-1-1 build from Shana, so a big change up here, obviously. Going to be looking for that double medevac marine drop in the earlier stages, rather than Hellions and Widow Mines and Hellbad pushes with the Banshees. Complete change up from game number 2, which I do like. I do feel as though this is the nicer way to play this. I feel as though the, this is the nice way to play this with the kind of, I don't know, like, I mean, after you've lost with Mech twice, I suppose it obviously makes sense to play Bio instead, but he played so well with Bio last week, when he was playing against Bly and other players in his group, that I really would like to see, I want to see him take down Cham with it, because I believe he can. I really believe he can do this, so I guess we shall see here over the next few moments. The hatchery on the way up here from Cham. Just setting up into his 3 bases, very standard as it has been throughout for him so far. He did push up this ramp just previously a few seconds ago, and he will have seen that Marine count. Now, he has been used to seeing kind of 6 Marines. I'm not sure if he saw 8 or more, but it's getting to that point where I think he will be able to start figuring out that this is not going to be the same build he's been playing against up until now. As we're just going to be seeing the overlords just spread out. And again, the drones moving on in towards the 3rd base. Queen's pushing that creep out onto the map as well. Overlord pops up, Queen will throw down and inject onto that hatchery and into the main base as well. And drone's still just mining away over on the 3rd. Engineering bay on the way up from Shana. I'm just going to be seeing him setting up into the very standard follow-up to this double Marine drop, which is just upgrades and kind of playing from there. We'll see if he goes double Engineering bay. It's very weird not to go double Engineering bay nowadays. Single Engineering bay and into 5 racks is kind of outdated, honestly. There it is. Double Engineering bay it will be. I remember there was a time where this 2-on-1 saw so many different follow-ups, but nowadays it really is just double Engineering bay, 3rd CC, and everything else from there. So you see these Queens already jumping onto one of those medevacs. Doesn't quite get the kill, but gets it low. That's already a huge part of just deflecting this attack, because now the low medevac can't really come forwards, which means it also can't really be used to do kind of hot pickups and saving units at the last moment, etc. And that's a bit of a shame, really. So that's a little bit of a shame indeed, as we're going to be seeing the 1-1 upgrade starting up then from Shana, the 3rd CC, now on the way up as well. Again, seeing kind of, we are seeing what's kind of going on. I mean, we're seeing him build what we expect him to be building. Carapace upgrade from Cham makes a lot of sense too, against what is going to be a lot of Marines early. The Carapace will have a lot of effect against those fast firing units, basically. As those Marines push forwards, we will see potentially some scans to get rid of some crew spread. I mean, that's one of the main things these drops are kind of designed to do. We saw another medevac coming over here, but no extra Marines, which is intriguing. There's actually some Marines and Wouldn't Mind in the main base, which is trying to distract right now. He's going to force some Zerglings away. Nice lift up to minimize friendly fire damage from the Widow Mine. And there is a scan pushing back that crew spread. This is what Shana needs to do, start controlling the map a little bit, as that low health medevac will go down, but he didn't load into it, so it's not that bad. You see a few drones going down as well. Zerglings being picked off as they run in, 1 or 2 at a time. And in towards that choke point also. As roaches start to come out, though, will become a little bit more difficult for Shana to continue doing damage. Roaches are just that little bit sturdier. As long as they're in the right location, obviously they're a little bit less mobile. As we do see those Marines pulling off to the side. And we'll start to drop on those Marines. Going to be seeing Marines dropping down again, and again just going to see that Overlord getting pushed away over to the side. So Overlord getting pushed over to the left, as we do see again medevacs unloading on this watchtower. A whole bunch of Marines still on the map, and again just continue to control map control with this. More medevacs ready to go, and I mean with this playstyle you generally do just keep on dropping until the Zerg finds a way to stop you. Whether you keep on dropping or whether you just kind of, keep on applying pressure. You generally do just want to be doing that, because if you have the medevacs up, you can always lift up and retreat without having lost anything, unless you obviously die to a Queen, which you shouldn't be letting happen, of course. So these Marines unload, the Widow Mine's unloading too, and we are going to see this push up the right-hand side. Going to be getting ready to get rid of a few of these creep tumors here. As you see the 4th base is down and completed. The creep tumors going down already. You're going to be seeing the Widow Mine's just burrowing now as well. And we're just going to be seeing the, again, the Marines just going to stim once more, just continuing to look for creep tumors and all the rest of it. Nothing to the top side of the map any longer. I'd love to see the next 2 medevacs heading up there potentially, just looking to try and again pull the Zerg army around rather than just focusing all in one location. Marines pull back over here, and they are going to get ready to push through those rocks. As those rocks start to go down, you'll see Widow Mine just burrowing just behind it as well. Rocks are dropping over here as we see roaches and ravages. A couple of corrosive bars. Actually already cleaned up that Widow Mine there, so Cham a little bit misplaced with that, as we're going to be seeing the Widow Mine just going to burrow. And again, I mean, more units coming over. It is going to be that larger push we're discussing. Ooh, walks into a bile there. Not the prettiest. 1-1 upgrades against currently just +1 Carapace, as I feel as though Shana trading kind of nicely. Those roaches are taking a big beating from those Widow Mines. Another one will try to burrow in the front. It will just, I believe, get a shot up because there was only one single corrosive bile used on it. Just so many roaches, though, continue to pour out, and Cham's reinforcements are going to help him to hold the front line. And with that front line held, Cham will be able to, well, secure himself a position in this game, which gets more and more comfortable for him with +2 cow, +1 missiles about to finish. The Spire coming out as well. I'm intrigued by the Spire and what he might actually try and do with this. He does have a hive, so I guess it's just to go straight to Broodlord's whip. I didn't realize he actually had the infestation pit up so early, as we see Shana just unable to really break through. The Roaches and Ravagers just continue to trade so well as Corrosive Bowels get 2 Widow Mines. This might just be the end of Shana here. Corrosive Bowels again, and now Medevac's a little bit late to move away from it, as Cham is able to continue pushing this away. And Shana just has to lift up, back off. 2-2 upgrades still coming on through from Shana. I mean, they'll finish shortly, but so much already lost here in the Zerg with so much momentum now, having cleaned out so much bio. Look at this, the Roach Ravager is going to push on forwards. Biles again to try and push the Medivacs further back. The Liberators will move around the map and try and harass, and they might be able to get something done. They're going to siege up on mineral lines and so on. They will be annoying. But for how long? I mean, Ravagers are going to come in here. Rhythm Mine does get a kill. I mean, one Liberator goes down almost instantly, and this Liberator is not going to last long at all, because there's Ravagers here to Corrosive Bowel it down. Doesn't move at all. So that's both Liberators cleaned out, and it buys Shana some time to build up back at home. But at the same time, Cham's building up into those Broodlords, and that's also going to be a pretty devastating factor here if Shana doesn't find a way to fight against them. And right now, Shana has nothing. Absolutely nothing. No, no Vikings. Not even really enough just straight up anti-air on the ground in terms of Marines or something. Just nothing at all. You see these Lings and Roaches just going to be continue to push over the left-hand side. Actually going to see a little bit of an interesting moment here. We see those Roaches pushing in towards the third base. We also see Bio pushing through the center. So it's a big counterattack by Shana, who also feels maybe that he has enough a big counterattack by, Cham, who also feels he has enough to defend at home perhaps. No, we'll give up the 4th base, but obviously very content with the damage he's doing on the 3rd base, which is now currently lifted. The 4th base being denied as well. And Cham will start morphing in those Broodlords. Roach Ravager pushing in with some Zerglings too to help clean this out. The Corruptors are starting to pick off these Medivacs, and it's not looking very pretty at all here for our Terran player. He still is not able to clean up the Roaches on the other side. Cham is starting to bring some Roaches back, but hasn't been able to in the air. Didn't bother to fully bring them back. Actually started to send them back across the map. Wants to continue doing damage. Marines continue to be picked off here. The 4th base has been killed. The 3rd base is mine, and Shannon knows it's just not going to be